You know, it's one of those things too, with this one specifically, in the season that we're coming up into, or when this releases. Yeah, we'll be right up into coming into this summer season. This is when you can start to see crops, I don't want to say fail, but get pretty scraggly. It either goes wild or scraggly. You pick it.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the suffering, if there's to be
Yeah.
suffering in your garden,
Right.
right?
And so it's
For
like the pests will all compile on top of it, and you'll start to get damaged leaves. So remove the leaves. Damaged leaves hinder your plant because it's trying to produce energy out of a leaf that's just
Mhm.
not really existent. So the best thing to do is go out of there and cut it out. Treat, cut out, and then just kind of stay on that process, and try and do it all at once. Don't do it all in, all, once every 2 days or something. Try and do it all at once, get it done, let the plant recover and move on. But I think with a solid nutrition, solid harvesting, like Batavia said, you got really good recipe to help your garden thrive even more. And we've said this
Mhm.
on, there's certain crops, the more you harvest, the more you get. So it's not like that for all of them, but for some of
Yeah,
them,
yeah.
it's exactly what it is.
I mean, I think that that is the and it's one of my favorite questions of the day, around this is probably 2 seasons ago now. Um, it was a listener who talked about leaving vegetables in her garden,
Yeah.
and it's like, "Why am I not harvesting?" And I was like, "Why are you in my head?" Right? And generally speaking, I tout the idea that during certain parts of the year, my garden is storage, but that is not the truth for every vegetable all the time, and it takes some getting used to understand that. When you think about beans as we go into summer, pole beans or bush beans, any of those beans, things that aren't like supposed to be drying, not those, but things that are going to be fresh beans, you do yourself a disservice leaving them on the plant for any amount of time. Not only are you impacting the quality of what you are harvesting, they say you're impacting the actual continued production, right? Things that can basically become overripe and rot like tomatoes, like peppers, like melons, like squash. These are all things that early and often is your best bet. That's going to play in your favor. And you have to consider if you're struggling with it, Batavia or others, do you really enjoy that vegetable that much? Do you really have time to manage whatever you have going on in your garden? That's when you have to start asking yourself questions if you're struggling in a way where you can't keep up, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, look, we've all grown crops and not harvested them. Go back and check out
Mhm.
that episode if you want. I think it was like Batavia said 2 years ago. The title should be self-explanatory. But yeah, it's hard to do, and a lot of times if you leave a fruit or vegetable, whatever, on a plant for too long, the plant will start to decline. And so the first thing you want to do is go out and harvest all that you can and let that plant recover from it. And then just keep on that same path over and over and over. It's rinse and repeat. That's the good thing about gardening, is a lot of it is just rinse and repeat. You do it and you get it done. You do it and you get it done, and do it again, do it again, and do it again. And that's how you get really good at it. So it takes practice and it takes time, but there's also times when you're not going to see healthy growth, and it's normal. So, for instance, my potatoes right now are coming to the end of the growing season for them, and they look mighty, mighty rough. But after years of growing potatoes, I've come to expect that and understand that that plant is signaling to me that, hey, get ready, it's almost harvest time. And so that's what you want to keep an eye on too. So not all plants are going to look amazing for the all of their lifespan, and there's not many that do this, that act in that way, but that is one of them, that they will actually die back, and it says, hey, go ahead and harvest. Where sweet potatoes, for instance, they'll look good up until the first frost. So
Schools of thought that say even for sweet potatoes, if depending on how long your season is, let those plants die back too. I think importantly for something like a potato, you want to consider how you're going to eat them. If you plan on having them for Sunday dinner, you don't have to wait. If there's the tubers have actually produced, you don't have to wait until the plant diets back. It's funny, but I always do. It's funny because the potatoes are in the front yard this year, and I've planted them in like kind of pockets in the front yard before, but they're kind of on display. And I absolutely consider these plants will look ugly
Yeah.